Well, the COVID pandemic has changed so much of our lives over the past year and a half, and not everyone feels the same about those changes. Whether it's vaccines or mask mandates, people are finding themselves in a situation where they might face a tough conversation about the pandemic with a friend or relative who share a different view on the topic. Joining us today to talk about how to navigate these conversations is certified life coach and confidence expert Andrea Owen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, thanks for having me, Marysol.
We have a lot of ground to cover, so I want to jump right in because this has happened to me recently. So how do you approach your own feelings about wearing a mask or being vaccinated with friends or family members or coworkers who you suspect may not share your same view?
Well, it's definitely can be an intense and emotional conversation. People typically aren't indifferent about it. You're on one side or the other. So the advice that I give people is to think about 3 steps. The first one is, how invested are you in this relationship? So if it's a family member, of course, you're going to be more invested. But if it's a coworker that you maybe only have to interact with on occasion, maybe you're not as invested. That will give you either the green light or the red light, whether to go forward with the conversation. The second part is, what is your intention? Ask yourself that. Do you want to argue? Some people, that is their intention. Do you want to change their mind? That will also give you some insight to, again, whether or not you want to have that conversation. And the third step is boundaries. Many times boundaries do need to be set, and sometimes that's maybe not having them over for Thanksgiving dinner.
Right, Andrea, that's so important what you said. Are you having this conversation simply because you want to argue? Because I think so many times, especially in this particular climate, you're so invested in your own belief and you get so frustrated that you just want to argue for the sake of arguing and nothing gets accomplished. Right. Which is silly. Okay, so what if someone in your circle is incredibly vocal about a view that you think is downright wrong?
Yeah, that's a tough one. And what I say to that is, just put it out there that you have a different point of view and say, hey, are you willing to have a conversation about this where we are going to listen to each other? I'm open to hearing what you have to say. And as a reciprocity, I would love for you to hear what I have to say as well. What do you think about that? See if they're even open to it, because they might not be, and that is their right to do so.
Right, right. And so it's also interesting, all these tips could apply to non-COVID conversations, right? Because it's all about being heard and figuring out boundaries. But that brings me to my next question. What are the ways to set boundaries for you and your family that will help keep everybody safe? How do you go about starting or having this conversation about boundaries? We were just earlier on the broadcast talking about the holidays and Thanksgiving and the CDC and what their recommendations are. So what is your take on this?
Right. Well, definitely don't go in cold to these conversations. I would never tell you, oh, just go ahead and call up that one family member, 5 minutes from now and good luck with having a boundary conversation. These definitely need to be prepared. There are so many books. I mean, you can even Google like how to set healthy boundaries, and there's experts out there, myself included, who have step-by-step processes that would probably take me about 20 minutes to explain. But always be very clear going in and know that following through with the boundary many times is the hardest part. That can be harder than just having the conversation in the first place.
At what point, Andrea, do you recommend ending a friendship or a relationship over a disagreement? For the purpose of this segment, we're talking about COVID, but I recently had to do that. I recently, I believe in science, and this other person who I've known for years did not. And we're kind of in limbo now. The bond is not as strong as it was, but I wonder, what do you recommend to me? How do you move on from that?
It's so difficult, and I don't want to be dismissive of that at all. And this whole pandemic has really brought forth what people's true values are and where people in our lives aren't in alignment with that. So my short answer is, if you're asking yourself that question, or if your ears kind of perked up when you asked the question, then probably it's time. Yeah. And I also tell people it might not be forever. It truly might. Sometimes difficult things happen and we have to take breaks, sometimes long breaks from friendships, and then come back together. However, if it is, you're seeing cracks in this relationship that that are showing that you're out of alignment with these really, really important beliefs that you have. And you were mentioning science is one of your beliefs, and many times it's about the rights of other humans, then it very well might be time to just cut the cord with these people. And I just want to, one last thing, it is heartbreaking. These friendships can feel like losing an intimate partner, like a real breakup. And I encourage people to go talk to their therapist, go talk to someone that they trust, that they can lean on for support.
I'm going to lean on you because you're a confidence expert. By the way, is that at the top of your CV, confidence expert? Because I love it.
Actually, yes. And resilience.
Yes, queen, yes.
Come a long way.
I know. So you have a new book, Make Some Noise, and it focuses on the mindset of the pandemic that isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and how we can find our resilience and confidence for happy and healthy lives. How do you do that?
Oh gosh, it's how much time you got?
like 2 seconds. I'm getting yelled at.
Well,
I'm getting the hook.
To be clear, this book in particular really is about looking at our conditioning, our social conditioning and programming. And it's for men, women, non-binary folks. We've all grown up in a culture that has taught us specific things. And I want people just to get curious about what those are and see if they actually match up to the person that we want to be.
I love it. Andrea, you have been a wealth of a font of knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing it with us this morning. And for more tips,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For more tips on building confidence, check out Andrea's website and social media sites.
Such great advice.